What if you could ditch the 9 to 5 grind, achieve financial freedom, and build wealth through a business model you've never heard of?
The easiest way to make $10,000 a month is to spin up 3 lead generation websites and create a revenue share agreement with every one of those businesses. The best way to escape the 9 to 5 is by learning a valuable skill that you can monetize. Local service businesses need this service because they can't control and scale on their own.
This is Ryan Atkinson, and you're listening to the Alpha Podcast, where we uncover the secrets of building and running successful businesses. Today, we're thrilled to have Luke Vanderveer join us. Luke left his 6-figure HR job at the age of 29 to create a life of freedom, leveraging his expertise in SEO and lead generation to rent out websites to businesses. What? That sounds incredible. Luke's here to share his journey, his strategies, and invaluable insights you can use to start your own path to financial independence. Luke, thank you so much for being here. Great story and great concept. So yeah, I'm excited to dive into it more.
Yeah, I love it, man. Thanks for having me on, Ryan. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's going to be so good. And you really promote leaving the rat race. And that's something that you did at 29. So let's jump there. What pushed you to leave your 6-figure job, which is crazy, and start your own business?
I've just never agreed with this path, right? Everybody tells you that society, parents, friends, everybody you know is always here's the path to success. You just got to go to school, you learn all this stuff, then you're just going to work. And I was like, what do you mean? We'll just work. And then what? And it's just work. Until when? I don't know, 65, 70, and then you can retire. I'm like, cool, then what? Now you enjoy yourself. I'm like, what if I don't want to wait that long? That's the problem.
Yeah, I love it. So I'm curious, did you have entrepreneurial parents or anything? Was this just truly I don't want this path for me?
I mean, I guess partially. My mother's a nurse, clinical nurse specialist. She's a psychiatric nurse. My father's a chiropractor. He owns his own practice. So there's some little entrepreneurial piece, but he's still working. He's working there. He's the sole practitioner. It's not like he's stepped back and just running something over.
Interesting. So let's go to that 29 and you're like, okay, I don't want this life for me. You decide to quit your HR job. I mean, what are you doing? What's that first entrepreneurial venture for you?
Yeah, I mean, I decided way sooner. I was just immediately, I want to say 6 months after getting out of the MBA program at Albany and just being at work, I was just not loving this corporate life. And I was like, I got to get out of this. And I looked at a lot of stuff. The first attempt after Googling how to make money online was multi-level marketing with Market America. And I was just going event to event and listening to trainings and sales stuff. And I would sit out in my car at lunch and listen to the audios. And I was trying to do this, but it was so difficult because I'm introverted. I could force myself to talk to people and stuff, but that's not where I'm comfortable. That was the first attempt.
I want to ask for that. How long did you do the multi-level marketing or anything?
Yeah.
Okay. How long did you do that? And there's some valuable skills for that.
2.5 years.
Wow.
It put me up in front of people. It got me comfortable speaking in front of people because you'd have to memorize a presentation. I'm always presenting, and I felt like I was pretty good at it. I did 17 people in 6 months, and I was like, I got this. I got this skill for recruiting. But even with that, I built this team, and we would go to events together, and all these people are on stage making all kinds of money. And even with this little mini group I built, 17 people is a lot. It took me a lot of work to do that, and it was only bringing in $1,500 a month. After 2.5 years of doing this. And I'm like, I can't, this is too much.
Oh my God, that's so interesting. So multi-level though, I mean, talk to us about the benefits. I'm not promoting MLM schemes here. I just want to make that clear to the audience here, but I'd love to hear the benefits that you had of it.
I've met people that do better in it. I think the biggest benefit I got from it was just getting out of my own skin a little bit, just being a little bit more extroverted and being open to the idea of something that's not traditional in terms of making money. Instead of just going to a job and going home, trying something else. I think that was just the best benefit, just pushing me toward a different direction. Not necessarily that model, because I don't think that model works very well. But I'm still glad that happened because it pushed me in the direction I needed to go.
Interesting. And let's talk about the direction that you do go in. Is this the website rental? How did you first discover website rental? And talk to us about website rentals. This is a new concept for me and on the podcast. So yeah, talk to us about this and how did you discover it?
So it kind of started with lead generation. I was doing all these different models and trying things. I did Amazon FBA and drop shipping, and I'd have varying degrees of success or money with each of these, but I could never really figure out how to get something where the money's coming in, but I have my time too. It would always be one or the other. I either have a ton of time and no money's coming in, or I'd have all this money and I'd just be working all the time. And I'm like, there's got to be a happy medium somewhere. Am I an idiot? So I'm looking for all this stuff, and I found lead generation. I was listening to somebody talk about just generating leads for businesses, and I was like, this is really cool. Let me try to learn SEO. So I'm paying for all kinds of coaches and courses and all this stuff. I get SEO. I build a little agency. I got a bunch of clients. I'm like, all right, this is good. It's making more than my job. I'm like, this is okay. This is working. But then I start to notice all the problems with that one, and that clients are bothering you to do things that don't make a difference. They're arguing with you on what's best, even though they have no clue what they're talking about. And it's just becoming a massive headache. And I'm like, it's like they own me, or they act like they own me just because they're paying me a retainer. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. So one night I had a client call me on a Sunday, wake me up in the middle of the night, freaking out about his rankings, which is crazy because I brought him from nowhere to getting tons of leads. And he was complaining. And I just snapped, honestly. I was like, that's it, you're done. I freaked out. And then I just shut down the whole agency. And I started building websites in all of the niches that I was already in. And I was like, maybe I can just build it and rent it to them. It's like, if I have control of it, they can't tell me what to do with it. Doing that was the difference maker, because then I don't have to listen for what they want to change.
Okay, let's talk about this a little bit more. So for people listening here, because we have entrepreneurs, people that are like, okay, I want to start a business and I want to make passive income while I'm at it. So just as I'm comprehending this, you built websites and then just rented them out to companies and be like, hey, I have the design, everything built. You just need to plug everything in.
Right. Yeah. So let's backtrack a little bit. I think it'll make more sense with an example. So there's tons of people searching for businesses all the time on Google, right? Let's say the driveway. The driveway is all messed up. There's like potholes in it. What would you do, Ryan, if you had just potholes in your driveway? Who are you calling for that?
I would Google how to get rid of potholes or like pothole removal businesses.
Okay. All right. So are you doing it yourself, or are you going to go to Home Depot?
Oh, God, no.
Okay. So you're going to hire a business, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you Google your, pothole removal service or whatever. And then out of the people that come up, all the businesses, who do you pick?
Usually the top person.
Okay. So this is the same response everybody gives.
Yeah.
And what happens? 93% of the searches go to Google, and then out of Google, everybody just wants the top guy. They don't want to go 7 pages deep searching for people when everybody offers the same service. So all I did was build a website in that niche, get it to that top spot, and just treat it like digital real estate. I would rent it out like an apartment building. I just lease out the top spot in the search results to a business who does that service.
Interesting. So it sounds like this is a very, very strong background in SEO to get this at that top ranking spot then.
That was from all the stuff I did to learn that. So I was like, let's just parlay this into something passive.
Okay, that is a super, super interesting. So you painted that picture for us. I want to talk about like landing your first client then. I want to make this very actual for people that are listening. They're like, okay, like I want to do like the same thing here. Steps you took to land your first client with this. And from what you know now, like what steps would you take?
It was a lot of trial and error for me, but build a site, get it to the top. Customers start calling because they see it, right? That top spot gets a ton of traffic. So It's like the number one spot organically below the maps, 31% of whatever is being searched. 1,000 people, 300 some are going to that website. A portion of those are going to call, and those are calling my website now. They're either filling out the quote form on the website or calling the call tracking number, which I can actually take the call and forward it to anywhere. What I was originally doing is I just answer the phone and be like, yo, whatever the name of the company is. So I'll just make it up. Dallas Tree Service. And then they'd say what they needed. Oh, I need a tree removed in my backyard or whatever. I'm like, cool. All right. All of our guys are busy. Let me give you a call back in like 2 hours. And I just call up a tree company and be like, hey, I got people to refer to you. Here's the details, and like talk to them and see if they were open to like working out some kind of structure with me where they pay me a little bit, like a cut, and then just create that relationship. So I'd refer a few people over and then make a deal.
Oh my God, that is so genius, honestly. I want to ask, so you would build this website and basically pretend like I can do this, or not pretend, but like advertise for this service. You have a strong background in SEO, and then you're a middleman for another company.
Yeah, I basically just turned myself into a lead broker.
If you're looking to start and build a successful business, Upflip Academy is where you need to be. We offer step-by-step programs from active entrepreneurs running thriving businesses, like Adam Hill, who works just 2 days a week and brings in over $58,000 a month with his vending machine business, or Vlad Kakunso, who has made over $3 million in just 3 years with his Etsy business. These aren't your run-of-the-mill programs. These are proven blueprints used to build 7-figure businesses. Whether you're just getting started or looking to grow your business, Upflip Academy has everything you need. Just click the link in the description and try it out for free today.
I want to ask, like, how long did it take with SEO now? Like, how long does it take really to go from, page 7 to page 1? And I'd love to hear, like, how do you identify industries to go after now?
Yeah, I mean, so it really depends on the niche. If you pick something super competitive, it's going to take the standard 4 or 5 months, whatever it's going to be. But if you pick something that's easier, lower competition, it's not like that. It could be 60 days, 90 days. I had a client do it in a couple weeks. I was like,
Wow.
this is really cool. I can't say it's going to be that all the time because that's a one-off. You have to find those interesting scenarios. It's areas where, it's not as big of a population. Like it's not going to be in New York City. 400,000 people. We want, 5, 6, 7 businesses, something like that. Not too many. And there can't be like none. There's got to be enough where I have people I can talk to in case I blow my first pitch to the first guy. Be like the only company I could work with. Different types of niches. I want something like quick turnaround time with the type of business it is, like the sales cycle. Like pool construction, for example, terrible because it takes forever. You're a pool company. I give you the lead right now. You're not closing that lead for another 3 months. So that lead to you doesn't seem like much. You're like, yeah, I don't know how it works out. I'll let you know. I want to know right away. I want them to see the value in working with me. So I want stuff that closes quick. Plumbers, electricians, blue collars, really something that works really well for this. So there's some white collar stuff too, but I really like the contractor type stuff because people want it done now. They're not going to wait weeks and weeks to get whatever it is done. And they're not going to price shop too much either.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're targeting industries where, like, a plumber, like, if I need plumbing, like, I need someone to come like today type of thing.
Yeah, we need it now. We can't wait on this. So I'm trying to pick things that are like that. And then I'm just looking at the search results to see, what do the other competitors look like? Do they have a ton of reviews or are they oblivious? Like, is their website look like it was made in 1990 or is it brand new and tons of content on it? And if you can find just Googling in different niches and cities, finding these things, you can really crush it with this because you're competing against people that don't know what they're doing. So even if you messed up half of it, you're still coming out ahead. And that's what's making it passive.
Yeah, that's what I love about the opportunity in the home service business is right now there are a lot of older people in home service businesses, and it's starting to become like a more trendier thing to get into. And that's why I like the Upflip podcast because it's such a great resource for that, where essentially you can identify nothing against like a 55-year-old guy that's been doing it forever, but like his marketing might not be up to par as someone that's, under 35 that like knows what marketing looks like and how to have great SEO. That's what I love about the strategy.
Yeah. I mean, like, let's be honest, it evolves and they're focused on their trade. They're really good at what they do. They're not so great at the marketing and stuff. So they're growing off referrals and people telling them about it, but that's not a consistent way to grow. You can't control and scale fast if you're just hoping that you get people coming in.
I love it. I want to get actionable here and stay actionable here. It sounds like a good idea of the industries that we go after, but locations, like how are you identifying good locations to go after then?
It's looking for all those things. It's looking for how many businesses are in there. What are the businesses we're competing against? Whether they look like they know what they're doing or they're paying somebody, or it's like old, not a lot of content, less reviews, don't even have a website. We're specifically looking for that. So you just pick a niche and start going through the cities to find this. And when you find it, that's what you go after.
Oh my gosh. Is it like a typical, like population wise, is it typically like 50 to 200,000 or like what does it like typically look like here?
Couple 100,000.
Oh man.
Sometimes you get just a gem that'll be like, New York City and there's some niche that's just perfect and there's no competition, but it's hard to find that.
Interesting. And so for the SEO part, I mean, that's obviously probably the most important aspect. You can identify everything you want, but you need to be able to like do the SEO. I mean, what are some principles that you teach that people should know about when it comes to like SEO and actually being able to rank here?
Yeah, I mean, it's like an 80-20. So it's doing the keyword research and seeing what your other competitors are promoting. And I like the idea of looking through all the competitors and seeing every possible service you can provide and then trying to rank for all of it. Because the interesting thing is Google is going to do what it wants, regardless of what you put. So, maybe I want to rank for like roof repair and roof inspection. And I really wanted repair, but Google just ranks me higher for inspection, even though they're both optimized the same and whatever. Okay, cool. I guess I'll just focus on that. Like I just go for everything and then we see what sticks. I just kind of pare it down based on who I'm going to work with. Content foundation is a really big piece. And then obviously there's a lot of other technical things too, like get a map, get it listed in places, get websites to link to you. It starts to get pretty in the weeds.
Yeah, I was going to say that is a whole content strategy, especially like when it comes to SEO. I mean, for someone that is just starting out, like what's a reasonable amount of like websites that they can own and what is really like the max if someone's in year one of this?
Oh God, that's how fast you can get those up. Like I'll take one website, come up with a design. You don't even have to do it yourself. You pay somebody to do it. Come up with a nice, fast loading design, and then just template it. And then just fresh content, same template, plug it in, pop it into a new city. It's going to be finding the opportunities and then trying to manage your team. So I'm like, I have VAs and things that do this for me. So like you get it down, you learn it, you see that it's working now, and then we train the VAs to do it so you don't have to. And now you're just project managing.
That's so interesting. So let's just say you get like a new website up. Let's keep going with the plumbing example, for example. So basically you'll list your services as like plumbing and whatnot. I'm in need of plumbing. I'm going to call your website. Take us through your workflow. Like, how do you guys identify people to actually like do the job then? Because basically you're just like outsourcing it here.
Yeah, I mean, they're just going into Google and they're just looking for companies that provide these services. So like upfront, when they're doing the research on what content to write and keywords to go after and so forth, they're going through to see what services they offer. So different companies are going to say they do different things. Pipe repair and toilets and showers and all this stuff. And we're trying to find a company that fits that. And my favorite types of companies to go for are the ones that are already paying for leads. Because I don't want to work with somebody who working with me would be a new bill. I want it to be something where they're going to reallocate money they're already spending to make it an easier switch. And then they'll just try it with me. Like if I have somebody who's already spending thousands a month on Google ads, like some plumber, he's going to love it when I give him organic traffic that closes at a higher rate. So I'm like, dude, just spend a couple thousand with us and test it out for a month.
That's what I want to ask. Like, how do you then price it to these customers? And how do you identify who's like paying for leads already? Two questions that I'd love to have those answered.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's lots of ways to do it, right? So think about any type of pay for lead service, advertising service. You can look on Facebook and go to the ad library and see what plumbers are paying for ads there. You could look in Groupon and see what plumbers are paying for a Groupon, right? They don't want to offer their inspection service for $35 when it's like $150 an hour. They're doing it because they're hoping that they can get a customer long term, and they're sacrificing it up front. It's like the what is it? Is it Sam's Club? Somebody gives away like really cheap food just to get people in the door. The rotisserie chickens or something. It's the same concept. Or like Google and just, plumbing service NYC. And I'm looking who's got the ads. Only these companies that are there, if they're local. Like I'm ignoring the national people because I want the local guy. Those are some of the picks.
So you then call these people and you're like, hey, I've got a lead for you at address. Like, what are you going to pay for? I'd love to hear like that workflow once that happens then.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to script that one because you kind of got to be able to wing it a little bit. But it's basically like, hey, Ryan, I know you guys do plumbing. Do you service like Queens? And you're like, yeah. I'm like, cool. So I got a house with whatever. And I just pretend it's like my lead. I'm just going through all the problems or whatever, asking if they can do it, kind of qualifying them. And if they say they can do it, I'm like, all right, cool. So this is actually a referral that I wanted to give to you guys. Like, how quickly would you be able to get to this if I send that over? And if they tell me they can do it like right away, or they sound like they're serious, cool. If they sound like they're not going to get to it, I'm like, all right, I'll probably just go with somebody else. Thanks. And just call the next person. And then I try to create a little bit of a relationship up front.
Oh, that is super interesting. And then honestly, the more you do that, probably you can build that relationship and they can always be your plumbing guys. How do you exactly price it then? So if I paid $150 to you for plumbing, like what do you charge the other guy?
Okay, customer comes in. Let's just say it could be anything. Pipe repair. We'll go pipe repair and it will say it was like $1,000 from the plumbing company. That lead's coming in and I'm just giving it to them. I'm just asking for some kind of commission or something up front. You could do it where you just generate a bunch of leads. You got a million things coming in and you just set a flat fee initially. But if you want the lowest barrier to entry, it's pitching them a commission deal because there's no resistance. Like, what do they have to say no to? They don't have to pay me unless they close the deal. So they go close it. And then I just follow up with them to see how it went, trusting that they're going to be honest. And if I send them a few leads and they're not paying me anything, they either stink at sales or they're lying to me, in which case I don't want to work with either of them. So I'm going to find somebody else.
That is literally so interesting. I've never heard of this business idea. So it's like, it fires me up to talk about this. Let's just say it's like $1,000 for easy round numbers. What do you typically charge for like a commission? It probably varies, of course, by like relationships and by industry, but is it 30%, 15%?
Well, I'm going to try to go 15% of whatever it is just up front. And then once we have a relationship and we got a few leads coming in, I'm immediately switching that to a flat fee so that it becomes passive, because I don't want to be the person that has to follow up on things. Like, that's manual work for me to follow up and listen to the things, or manual work for my VAs. So I'll get it to the point where it's 30, 40, 50 leads, whatever, minimum. And then I'm switching into a flat fee with that person. And it's part of my conversation up front. Like as we're chatting and seeing like how these jobs are going, I'm like, here's what I'd really like to do. I'd love to send you these for a little while. You could just pay me a commission. We'll see how it goes. And then I'd like to talk about switching to a flat fee, if I can get you enough business and it makes sense for both of us.
Yeah, it does sound like a lot of it is like relationship building once you do like break down that door.
Yeah. And like they're super open. It's because I'm not approaching it like a marketing company where I'm calling up and promising all this stuff that's going to happen 4 months down the road. It's like I already have proof of concept in my hand. Like, here are the leads. I have them right now. Like, there's customers that want this. Do you want it or not?
This is so nuts to me. Like, I literally have never heard of this. This is like crazy. I want to ask, like, for people listening, like, they might be as fired up as I am on this, but like, realistically, what can someone like, of course, it depends on variables, how hard you're going to work, time commitment, a question I'm about to ask. How much like money can you make from this a month?
Oh my God, it's stupid money. You could make millions a year. It's not even a joke. Like 10K, you could do in 90 days if you did it, if you put in enough work to do it. The crazy thing is like, not just, I guess it depends on how passive you want it to be. If you want it to be passive and with renting out the website so you don't have to do a ton later, it's just literally sitting there and paying you and you don't look at it, like some of the sites I have, then that is going to take a little bit longer to build. But if you want to do something like a revenue share, you could knock out somebody's full-time income really fast.
Wow. Like, what are we talking? Like 2 months, 3 months?
Yeah, easy.
Oh my gosh.
I had 3 calls yesterday. I was on another podcast. I was on Bradley recently, dropping bombs. And a couple business owners called me up, booked the call with me. And I don't do SEO services anymore. Ever since I shut down the agency, I'm like, I'm not.
You're like, no.
No, it's like, I'm not doing it anymore. Like, you got to pay me something to make it really worth it for me, or I'm not touching it. And we were talking about revenue share, and we agreed on 25%. So it's like anything I bring you, 25% of it. Like, so if I take that company from 200,000 to $1 million and I bring in 800,000, I get 200 grand. Well, I could do that with any company I touch. So you do that with a few people, it's crazy. So especially for the people who already have agencies. So there's people out there who do SEO now. There's people who do Google ads now, Facebook agencies now. What if they just approached their existing clients with this? Do revenue shares and you could just crush it.
Oh, dude, that's so nuts. Do you ever get like pushback from people that are like, well, why are you like selling me leads types of things? Or people ever like, this is like almost like unfair at a point?
Not really. I had a business owner one time get mad at me because he's like, you're not even in the space and you rank above me and now you want to sell the leads to me. And I was like, you're not getting them anyways. You're buried. Like, what do you want? I'm like, I'm offering you the thing that you're trying to get on your own and you don't know how to do.
Interesting.
But it's like, that's a mindset thing, I think, for that business owner. So then I just switched to somebody who's got that growth mindset. They want to grow. I'm your guy. Let's do this together.
Interesting. So far we've talked about how to identify like those industries. Like, you guys are going after like blue collar work. It sounds like, I'm sure there's a lot of ways to identify locations. We talked about like monthly incomes and everything. I do want to hit on like the SEO part. Like, if someone doesn't know SEO, that's obviously a foundational part of this business. Content is, like, what advice would you give to them then?
Pay for coaching on it. Honestly, you could learn it yourself. It's just going to take a long, long time. Even with paying for courses and stuff, I still had to piece things together.
Yeah, interesting. So what are really like your startup costs for this? For someone that's like, okay, like I'm listening to this podcast, like Luke's the man, like I want to get started this. What would you expect to be like a startup cost for something like this?
It's not super high. So like domains, 10 to 20 bucks a year, name cheap, name silo, get a cheap domain. Hosting, I like SiteGround, 35 bucks a month. You can get it for cheaper. Call tracking software, there's lots of them out there, 40, 50 bucks a month. You'll need some kind of rank tracking. 10, 15, 20 bucks, somewhere around there monthly. The whole thing is going to be under 150 a month.
Wow.
To have all of the things you need. And then, of course, that's you doing the work yourself. You want to start outsourcing things, then you start adding some money. Somebody builds a site for me, somebody writes content for me, somebody does ranking work for me, all that stuff.
Yeah, I think that's like what the beauty of this is, like, and it's an online business, so you can talk to it. Like, you can like really do this passively. It sounds like what you're doing now.
It's certainly not passive when you're building. Like, if you're building it, it's work 100%. Once you have everything built, and specifically renting websites, once you have it built, the leads are coming in and it's rented out. Your only role is looking at the call report that's coming to your email to make sure calls are still stable. And if they're still getting 30, 40, 50 calls, they're happy and they're not bothering me. So that payment's coming in, and then I can either just chill or I could move to the next one. I personally like just keep going.
Yeah,
So
yeah. How many websites do you like currently own then?
hundreds,
Like hundreds, like 300, 400?
more than 200.
Oh my
200. Some of them, it's always tough for me to do this because a lot of them are lead gen sites, but I also have ones that are kind of like test dummies for different ranking things I'm trying. So sometimes I'll like try some different ranking strategies and I'll like ruin that site. We're trying to get like a new proven method, and then that one's ruined. But that doesn't really count because that's not really, I'm like testing with that one. But anyways, that's kind of what I do.
Yeah, I think this is like such like a crazy model. Like literally, I've never even like heard of something like this, which is like very, very cool. Marketing this website as well. So are you only focused on like SEO or do you do Google ads with these websites?
No, I don't touch it with any of the other stuff.
That's crazy.
Just SEO. And people have asked, like, should I run, ads up front to try to get the client to like pay me so I can use their money to build things? I tried that before. It does work. I don't love it because I don't want to do all the extra work in the management. Like I don't want to manage clients' money. I don't want to have the thing where I promise them one thing and then I can't deliver. I don't want to like have to watch the ads and like have ad managers and deal with all that. So I don't do that anymore. But I did have people request it. So I did a training on it too.
Interesting.
Because I know how to do it.
Yeah. Looking back on like everything you know now and like all of your coaching clients as well. I mean, is there like one thing people should know about this industry before they get started? Like, how should they really like get started in this?
You have to be willing to be patient. I think it's really like any other kind of business in that you have to have a business mindset going into it. You can't treat it like a job. It's not something where you work for a week and then you make money. It's like this, you grind for a bit and you set aside the time. And like, I understand, I had a job too. I'd get out of work and then just do this all night for months. Yeah. Like that's the thing you have to give up. So it's like, what are you willing to trade? Can you suffer now for a little bit to create a lifestyle where that never happens again? I'm cool with that trade. Not everybody's cool with it.
How long realistically did it take you to like get this to like be passive? I know you're grinding at night for this on the side. I mean, how many hours were you working? How long did it actually take you to make like passive money from this?
I think it was different for me because I didn't have a plan, but 6 months of just every night getting out of work at like, 5, coming back on this. I was living in the city at the time, come back on the subway, 6 o'clock, work till like midnight, 7 days a week, and then try to get, the gym in there a couple times a week too. But like no dating, no going out and hanging out with friends, no drinking, nothing, no family. Anybody, they're like, what the hell happened to him? That's what it was. Just 6 months of that was enough to get me out of my job. And then I could back off a little bit because I wasn't at a job all day.
I think that's really interesting. And like another question that comes to mind from earlier is you talked about templatizing your website. So now how you're doing this is like you have like the framework of a website built out a lot. And now it's just like plugging and playing with a new business.
Yeah, like the structure is already there. Like here's where the image goes. It's just like an empty frame. And then we just plug in, like the VA writes the content. They put in the new content. Because I can't take the same thing and just put it in all the different cities.
Oh, for sure. No, yeah.
Content. But they just write unique stuff and they just pop it in, new image, but like the structure is already there. So like the time is just spending writing it and then getting it all in there before they publish.
Dude, that is so crazy. Last question for you here as we wind down to our fan blitz questions. To escape that 9 to 5, like more advice, like what would you give to someone that wants to escape that 9 to 5? Not necessarily with this, but why should they escape their 9 to 5?
Why? Oh my God. I mean, if I have to tell them that, I don't know that they're the right.
Yeah, maybe not why, but like, maybe not why. I shouldn't say why should they quit their 9 to 5 because I know everyone listening here like wants to quit their 9 to 5. But what advice would you give to them who does want to quit their 9 to 5?
Let me share a belief that might resonate. I don't believe that we are put on this earth to just work forever until we die. There has to be some other purpose. Call it fulfillment, call it whatever you want. We have to be able to do the things we enjoy with the people we want to enjoy it with, people we love. And if you have a job and you're not happy with what you're doing, you're not fulfilled, you don't have any time to do any of this, you don't have to accept that. I know that that's what the majority of society does, but that doesn't mean that has to be you. Everybody in my life was the complete opposite. I mean, my father was a business owner, but he's a sole practitioner. So he's working there. I didn't know anybody else that made any money online. Everything was me trying to look out to who has what I want to know and who has the lifestyle I want. And then let's see if I can learn from them to get it. So I would just say have the courage to step outside of your circle and do something that people are going to tell you you're crazy for. Because next time they see you when you're crushing it, it's going to be a different conversation. They're going to be asking you, how did you do it?
I love it. Well, Luke, thank you so much for that. I want to jump to our fan blitz questions, and these are questions submitted from our community. And guys, if you want to join in on World Class Entrepreneurs, go to www.youtube.com/upflip and submit your questions there. But Luke, ready for our last 5 questions here?
Shoot.
Cool. Number 1, which type of businesses do you primarily work with?
Blue collar, all the contractors, any kind of contractor niche, love it.
Number 2, do you just pick up the phone and cold call companies? What do you look for in terms of their online presence?
People who are invisible. I want the person who's absolutely buried, nowhere to be found, or the person who is not on the first page, but they're paying for ads so that I know they already have the mindset and I don't have to convince them of anything. They're already convinced that buying leads is smart. Now, if I give them a better solution, they're in.
Nice. I love that. That's really good. I thought about doing this for a while, but have the changes to Google Business Profile impacted your business?
It's made it require a little bit more patience and a pivot in terms of how we do things, but it's not that big of a deal. I'll just work with businesses to get the maps and stuff up. But the other thing is you don't really need it. If you pick a big enough city, you could rank organically and just pull in enough leads that way. You don't even really need the maps. But I still go for it anyways because it's the easiest way to maximize leads.
So good. Number 4, how many no's did it take to get to a yes?
On the first site I tried to rent out, 4. 4. First person, I was terrified of calling, didn't know what I was going to say, and then it just turned really awkward real fast, and I hung up. Second guy, I tried to pitch the idea of leads, and that failed. Third guy, I tried to pitch the idea of leads, and that failed. And then the fourth person, I approached it a little bit differently, and I made it more about me referring customers. Because like a lead doesn't mean anything, right? A lead sounds like garbage, but a customer or a referral sounds like it's a quality thing, and they were more open to the conversation. And then once they see what you're doing, you're golden.
Yeah, I was going to say, a referral for me as a business owner would perk my ears up as well. Last one for you. Who owns the website? Is it yours and they rent it? Or do you have plans where people can pay more to keep it?
Me. I've only sold a website once, and that was a tremendous mistake. I can share that one. I did a tree service in Florida. I'm not going to share the city because somebody will find it. I built a site. I got it to number 1, maps and organic, and they were paying me $1,000 a month. And that was really early on. And the business owner was like, hey, like, would you sell this to me? And I'm like, I don't think so. And they offered 20 grand for it. And I was like, all right. So I sold it off. But now this is 8 years later. So $1,000 a month, 12 months, 96 grand, whatever the math is. It's a crazy amount of money, 80 grand, 90 grand, something like that I lost at this point. And so that was a dumb move. Might as well just keep the money coming in, keep that cash flow.
Ah, man, I love it. Luke, this has been such a fascinating conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. It's literally the first time I've ever heard this business model. So thank you so much. If someone's like, Luke, I need to learn more about what you exactly do, where can they connect with you?
Well, since my Facebook just got banned for unknown reasons, I would say go to websiterentalcoaching.com and then just watch the training there. And if you resonate with that, then there's a button below where you can find a time to talk to me.
Everyone, that was an amazing episode with Luke. I'm still mind blown at what this business model is. It's new to the podcast, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. 3 quick takeaways for you. Number 1, this is a relationship-based business. So once you do get your first leads for clients, find a way to build that relationship to them. Super easy way to do that. Number 2, your best locations or best industries for this are your blue-collar industries. Find those websites that aren't perfect. Use SEO. Get in front of them. Sell them leads. Number 4, this is something that you can definitely do passively. And that's what I love about this business model. I know a lot of you guys are so interested in passive. How can you do that? Well, with a business model like this. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to leave us a review. Your reviews and feedback allow us to bring more amazing podcast guests like Luke. We'll see you on the next episode. Luke, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Ryan.